seconds.
Is this where the damn drumming and the music kicks in?
Yeah.
What in the world is going on? Hello, everybody, and welcome to On the Pipe Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepherdson, and today is Wednesday, January the 10th, 2024, years after zero. I guess actually it's technically Thursday because it's about 1 in the morning as I'm recording this right now, but late into Wednesday night, early into Thursday morning, however you want to look at it, but we're here. And we got a couple things to talk about, a couple things to go over. First of all, we are a day late on OTP Tuesday, and that is why we were doing it Wednesday into the early hours of Thursday. Usually try to keep personal stuff out of here. I know last episode I went on a little bit of a rant. I hope it didn't sound like I was complaining or crying, just simply stating facts of the matter. But this one is a little bit different. My older brother, who actually lives with me due to a traumatic brain injury while in the military, he was medically retired from the military, 100% disabled because of a brain injury that he suffered a few years back. Got to the point where he couldn't live on his own, so a couple years ago, I moved him from Mississippi up to North Carolina. He's been staying with me, and I know it's a bit of a random thing, but just had some issues come up this week. So he's been in the hospital the past couple of days. I've been at the hospital with him. My mom actually flew in from Florida, and we've got some other family coming in. He's going in for a brain surgery in just a few hours, and it was a surgery on his neck that kind of caused the TBI and all of his issues that he's been dealing with ever since. So there's been some pretty negative experiences in the past with surgeries and kind of high risk for what they're doing. So the reason I say that is that's why we're a day late on OTP Tuesday. I want to get back into having guests. That is the biggest thing. Had some guests lined up for Tuesday. Obviously couldn't do the show last night. He's been in the hospital since Monday. So yeah, want to line up some guests, want to bring some people on. Just wanted to kind of put that out there, I guess, because it's been a little heavy on my mind, obviously being right in the middle of it. So, I don't know what you guys do or think or believe in, but if T's and P's are your thing, then I invite you to offer up some T's and P's to my brother as he heads into surgery Thursday morning. I'll be there hanging out with him. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all of that goes well, and then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming next week. So that's the goal. Get people back on, get people talking, bring OTP Tuesday back to the forefront. We got another batch of ideas that are coming at you, but like I said, new year, new me. This is the make it or break it year of OTP. We're growing this thing, we're digging our heels in, and we're going to see just how big OTP can get. There's no way we would be at this point if it wasn't for you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here wherever you're listening. If you want to click subscribe, follow wherever you're at, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, whatever the case may be, if you could subscribe to the show, it really helps a lot as far as getting it out there to more people. The more people that subscribe and interact with the shows, the more people that the algorithms send the things out to. So be a friend, tell a friend. If you gain something of interest or some knowledge from the show, I invite you, please, go ahead and be a friend, tell a friend. And let's get everybody on the OTP hype train because we got some stuff going on this year. Can't wait to bring it out. And really by that, I'm not being all convoluted, not hiding stuff from you, not building the excitement for no reason. I just mean the things that we should have been doing all along. We're going to do those things. We're going to do consistent shows, consistent programs. We're going to do new shows, new programs. We're going to talk about some more stuff. Might even dive in a little bit more in depth with amateur stuff. I've been trying to think of a way to kind of incorporate more amateur stuff in this. Obviously, pro riders is basically what we talk about on here because that's where all the attention is. Those are the people making the money doing this for a living. But there are far more amateur riders than there are pro riders, and there are far, I don't want to say better stories. I think that would kind of be going off the rails a little bit. But there is very good stories across the amateur ranks. For instance, my buddy, he's a pharmacist at a hospital, mixes up all the chemo for all the patients. He races these things on the weekends. Zach Tussle is a financial advisor. He goes out and wins A classes on the weekends. I'm trying to think of some. There's obviously more examples, but point being, there's a lot of cool stories, a lot of cool people out there. So hopefully we can find a way to incorporate amateurs in a little bit better, incorporate some West Coast stuff in a little better. That's what we're going to be talking about here in just a few moments. But I brought up Zach Tussle. Zach Tussle's back on board for 2024. Thanks to viewers like you that hit Zach Tussle up and see what he can do about your finances. If you've been listening to the show, you absolutely know that Zach Tussle is a racer and a financial advisor with Raymond James Financial. He helps his clients win when it comes to retirement and financial planning. He's always my first recommendation. Obviously, talk about him on here a good bit. We just went over and met with him and his wife, and then actually watched Supercross with him the next night too. So super good people. Zach's a fast A rider, like I said. He is a dirtbag just like you and I, showing up at the racetrack every weekend, been racing his whole life. But he's also very good at what he does for a day job, and that is financial advising with Raymond James Financial. You can go to their website, financialadvisorsdenvernc.com, or you can find Zach Tussle on social media. But, yeah, stoked to have him on board going into our third season together. And like I said, if you haven't reached out to Zach yet, if you've been on the fence about it, January is the best time to start. This is really the best time to start. You can get your new year started fresh. You can go ahead and start things up in January. Once again, you don't need to have $1 million extra dollars. You don't need to have $1 million of any dollars. Zach can help you out no matter what your financial situation is. And the sooner you start, the better off you're going to be in your future. So I encourage you to hit him up and let him know you listen to OTP. Get a free consultation. He can let you know exactly what he can do for you there. So, our next sponsor, we'll go ahead and get it out of the way. I know people don't like me reading them back to back. It is what it is. We got some more sponsors on board, and we have a ton of sponsorship opportunities, by the way, if you're listening. We got a few new ones actually in the works, but trying to figure out ways to incorporate that in without just reading a paragraph. I know you guys don't want to hear the same paragraphs, although at the races, everyone recites parts of the paragraphs back to me. So, at least you're listening. But no, same thing. If it's not something I believe in or use their services, then I'm never going to advertise for it on OTP. That being said, I don't want to get 28 different sponsors and inundate you with all of that stuff. So, we're going to find cool new ways to roll out the new sponsors. Don't know what that is yet. We'll see when it gets there. The sponsor has been with us for a while, though. Beta Motorcycles, they are the official manufacturer of On the Pipe podcast. They've been family-owned and operated since 1905. They make trials, enduro, and dual-sport motorcycles known for premium quality and rideability. You can go over to betausa.com, find out the information about all of their new models. And that leads us into our next thing about Beta Motorcycles, because they are fresh off of their first ever debut, but I guess that is literally what the word debut means. Anyway, they raced Supercross. It was a little bit of hype leading up to it, some planning that went into it. A brand new bike got developed, the Beta 450 RX, and we finally got to see that thing in action in a real live Supercross. Didn't make the main, but we're going to work on that. I don't know. I haven't gotten the inside details, but it appears as if something out of the ordinary happened. And before that, something out of the ordinary happened as well. Colt Nichols, who they'd signed to ride alongside Benny Bloss in the Supercross 450 division. It just came out the week of Supercross that Colt Nichols was going to be out, so he had to fill in John Short. Hell of a mustache. Hell of a mustache on that John Short fella. I've checked him out. Hell of a mustache there. So props to that. Unfortunately, John Short did not make the top 40 fastest qualifiers. He was just outside of that, so he didn't even make it to the night show, so didn't get a chance at the heat races or LCQs. Benny Bloss was out there, did some decent qualifying, and then had something go wrong in the heat race, had something go wrong in the LCQ, but nonetheless, they're there. They got the first one out of the way. It's all uphill from here. Hopefully, we'll see some of those beta bikes in the main events. Hopefully, we'll get Colt Nichols back on board and leading some laps. Hopefully, be out front on that old beta machine. But nevertheless, it was cool to see the beta boys out there. It was cool to see the hype behind it. And it was cool to see something that has been worked at, I should say, for so long finally come to fruition and see that bike out on the track. So exciting things to come. As a big beta ambassador, you guys know how big of a beta ambassador I am. I was actually on the live thing. The NGPC series promoter was doing a live Instagram thing tonight, and I found it kind of I don't want to say ironic, but it was, I guess, interesting would be the best words. He was talking to Mark Tilley with Dirt Bike Magazine. So I kind of got in there, chimed in, shooting some stuff back and forth in the comments. And one of the first things that he said was talking about me being a beta ambassador and getting out to the West Coast to race. So it leads me to believe that what we're doing with beta is working. If I got people on the other side of the country, they're like, OTP, he's the beta guy with the comfortable hoodies. So I thought that was interesting to see. But NGPC starts up this weekend. From what I gather, they're going to have a live broadcast of it, so I'm excited to tune in, see if we can catch a peek at that. This past weekend was actually round number 1 of the WORCs series. So WORCs racing got kicked off. That's going to start things off for the West Coast round. So we finally got some racing. We're still, what did I say last week? I think it was 5 and 6 weeks away from Sumter and Big Buck, so I guess now that would make it 4 and 5 weeks away from Sumter and Big Buck now. But out on the West Coast, they're up and going. They're up and rolling. So we finally got some racing to talk about from the factory fellas. Maybe we'll target some West Coast guys for next week since East Coast hadn't fired up yet. But leading the pack in front of the overall leader, in front of the entire pack of riders out there, you know what kind of machine it was? It was a Beta motorcycle from Beta USA. Dare DeMartille goes out and grabs the first overall victory of the WORCs season, putting that Beta out in front. So there's some things to build on, and then some great things to build on. Dare DeMartille going out, getting that win. I'd say that's a great thing to build on. Justin Hoft would end the day in second place in that 450 class, and Tyler Lynn would round out the overall podium out there in the 450 Pro class. Ryan Surratt would come in on his heels, I think pretty close in time, in the number 4 spot. And then Jack Simpson, who's just moving up to the 450 class, rounds out his first race with a top 5 finish. Looking down at the 250 Pro class. Now, what did I say last week? What did I tell you guys? What did I talk about? Talked about a lot of stuff, but more importantly, I talked about Mason Simmons. When we left the GNCC season last year, we did not know if Mason Simmons was going to be coming back to America to race a dirt bike, and we talked about that as well. I'd said that it would be a travesty if Mason Simmons was not in America racing on a factory team, based off of him coming into his own and showing the speed that he has, ending the year last year with a podium finish. From what I understand, I need to reach out to Meso and talk to him. But from what I understand, it seems like he's going to be contending the series out there on the West Coast rather than GNCCs this year. Nevertheless, he's back in America, and he's back on a dirt bike, and he's back showing everybody how fast he is on a dirt bike. This past weekend, a little bit of ups and downs, some highs, some lows. Got out, led the entire first half of the race, picked some people off, got out in front, didn't look back, and then had a little bit of a mistake, a little bit of mishap that blew out his rear tire or rear wheel, and had to push the bike all the way back to the pits, get that rear wheel changed, got back out there, still picked people off, ended up 7th on the weekend. So to push your bike in, change the wheel, go back out, get 7th, pretty good. I'd say it's pretty good. But also solidifies the fact that him going out there, he's an instant title contender. That is my thought on the situation. And I think him leading the first half of the race kind of proves that. We'll see if he races that NGPC this weekend coming up. I would imagine that he would, especially just get some more seat time on that RPM KTM team out west. So hopefully we'll see him race this weekend. But it was cool to see him back in America, back racing, and back out in front. So be interesting to keep an eye on that. So I did want to just throw that one out there. Yeah, we're a little East Coast biased. Sorry about it. East Coast bias. Sorry about it. But had to throw that out there for the boys. Brock Bennett would take the 250 Pro Class win after that happened. So Brock Bennett takes the win and the points lead after one round of racing. Kai Iao would end up in the number 2 spot, and Colton Eck would round out your 250 Pro Class podium out at the first WORCs event of the year. And then also Caitlin Jacobs, building on her championship season from last year, she comes out swinging and grabs the women's Pro Class win at the first round of WORCs. So, a lot of stuff to unpack there, a lot of stuff to talk about. Beta 1. That's what we got to get across. Dare DeMartille, congratulations on the W. In some other news, we got some more riders coming about, some more team changes, and some more people coming out of what's going on, who's racing what. One of the people that we had talked about a little while ago was the potential rumor that Jordan Jarvis would be racing GNCC full-time as a part of that AmPro Yamaha team. That comes out to be factual as the Yamaha team shoots, the AmPro shoots came out, and it did indeed showcase a one Jordan Jarvis, who is going to come out and race this year. If you are unfamiliar with Jordan Jarvis, you should Google her. She's only 22 years old, and she's won WMX championship. She's won Loretta's championship. She got her pro license for men's motocross and supercross. Tried to qualify for some motocross races last year. I believe her goal was to try to qualify for a supercross race. But yeah, super fast on a bike. Realistically, has only focused in motos. A couple years ago, she was actually selected to the ISDE team, which I thought was pretty random and out of nowhere, but they did it. She ended up not going because she got injured, so she ended up getting replaced that year. And I think that might have been the first year the women won. Not the first year, but I think they won back-to-back years. I think that was the first of the series. But, yeah. She came out, raced a sprint enduro. Didn't do the best. Not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But she is wicked fast on a moto track, and she's proved that time and time again. So being over there with that AmPro team, with the guidance of Randy Hawkins, with the partners of Liam Draper and Ricky Russell and Mike DeLosa and everybody else that's a part of that team, and really just in that area, all the people that ride together. I think with some time and experience, she's going to get fast in the woods. And I don't think that learning curve is going to be as high as what everybody thinks. So I think she'll come out, and, she'll be a force to be reckoned with. So a couple of girls are leaving. Taylor Jones, Mackenzie Tricker have both retired from the sport. And so now we see Brandy Richards coming over, who has obviously been dominant on the West Coast and been dominant at the ISDE. Bad rider. And I mean bad in a good way. You know what I mean? Brandy Richards. So she'll come over. She should be an instant threat. She should be running up front. She did race 3 or 4 races in 2022. Second place, every single one of them. Second. So we'll see how she adapts and conforms to the GNCC rules as far as the tracks and the terrain and everything that's going on. But once again, no doubt that she will come on strong and get better every week. So looking forward to seeing that, especially once Jordan Jarvis gets up to pace. And then you got all of these girls in the mix. Rachel Archer, reigning, defending back-to-back champ. Of course, she'll be out there. Corey Steed, now on a Husqvarna factory-backed machine. She'll be out there. Rachel Goodish. All of these girls are going to be pushing each other. And then you got Brandy Richards, who should be running up front. You got Jordan Jarvis, who I think in due time will be running up front. You got Preston Range, Jocelyn Barnes, all of these girls that are really coming into their own in that women's pro class. And I think the future of the women's pro class remains pretty high with the level of competition and everyone that is coming and continuing to race the women's pro class at the GNCCs and continuing to push each other. That's one of the things that we've talked about a lot on here is like when Taylor and Kenzie came over and started racing, and then Becca Sheets won her championships, and you had all those girls in the mix. Corey Steed too. They pushed each other to levels that women's pro WXC had not seen, and I think that level keeps rising. And now it's to the point where the WXC riders, more often than not, are winning the overalls in the morning races, when just a few years ago that wasn't quite the case. You'd have a lot of sportsman guys out in front, and most of the time the WXC winner was a little bit farther down that overall list. But now they push each other to the point where those girls are winning these races overall. And like I said, just the level of competition continues to grow, and it's cool to see that competitiveness continue to be driven and new faces, new people getting mixed in to that WXC class only helps everybody. You know what I mean? So excited to see that happen. One of the other AmPro announcements on there was indeed Bubs Tasha. So Bubs underneath the blue crew tent for the year, going back to the 250A class. So Bubs we saw compete at a very high level in the amateur ranks before moving up to XC2. He will now take a step back, move back to the A class from XC2, and hopefully Bubs has battled some injuries over the past couple years. So maybe that running in the A class can help build his confidence up. He's on a new bike, healing up from those injuries. So hopefully that can build his confidence back up. Get running up high up there in the A classes, battling for those top amateur spots, which is going to be competitive. Dude, top am this year, whoever wins top am this year earned it. I will tell you that right now. Whoever's the 2024 overall top amateur earned it. I still hear rumors through the rumor mill that Zach Hayes might be racing a Vet A class. I think he'll be in the mix for top amateurs, even from the Vet A class. But when you look at it, you got JoJo Cunningham, who's coming back to the A classes. You got Nick DeFeo, your reigning overall top amateur. Did Mike DeLosa win it? Now I'm confused. I've slept since the end of last year. But that leads me to my next point, Mike DeLosa, who if he didn't win it, he got close to winning it and could win it this year. And then you throw Bubs Tasha in the mix, who's been up there in those top am spots a lot as well. It's going to be a crazy season. And whoever wins top am this year, that's going to be one of the best battles of the year to see who's going to take those top am honors. So be on the lookout for that as well. A couple other things to catch up on. The Sumter National Enduro registration was opened yesterday. If you are a loyalty member, which I think is the craziest thing ever, I can't believe the amount of people that have reached out to me about the National Enduro thing. Like, I have any say or can do anything about it. But in case you weren't aware, National Enduro, signing up for the Sumter National Enduro may be one of the hardest tasks in the world. You get in there, you click it, and so does 2,000 other people at the same exact time. And after years and years and years and years and years of this and what to expect, still hasn't found a way to do it without it crashing. So it's always a shit show. But that whole Olympics happened tonight, except for the people that registered early. So I think it was you had to race more than 50% of the prior year's season. So if you travel the entire country, and keep in mind, it includes Texas, Oklahoma, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Alabama, all over the place. So if you spend all your money to travel all these races and you are a loyal National Enduro rider, you get the opportunity to give them even more money to be able to sign up a day early. And then, even with all those people signed up, when the actual Sumter thing lines up, it crashes again. I mean, I saw people, Zach Tussle is actually one of them. We're in a group chat together. He signed up for row 1. I think he got row 119. So, I've seen all sorts of stuff from other people saying that the site crashed while they were on it, couldn't get back into it. I don't know what the solution is, but that is a problem. And you think after doing it every year, there'd be some sort of way to mitigate that problem, but I don't know. But yeah, National Enduro is a super fun series, and I would love to run them, but it's so hard to sign up for a race a month in advance, 2 months in advance. I got no idea what's going to come up between now and then, and there's no refunds. So if you sign up for a race that's happening more than a month from now and you can't make it, then they just keep your money, and I hope you didn't pay your extra $20 for being such a loyal member. But I don't know. The sign-ups for that just seem odd, and a lot of them still sign up, even like a month out or whatever. So you still have to play the sign-up gymnastics to get into it. And then you got to wait a month before you go race. There's a few of them where they were on off weekends and I really wanted to go race them. But same thing, it's like, dude, I don't know what's going to come up, so I can't sign up that far in advance. So I wish there was a better way, or even a way like if you got to the racetrack, if you could fill in rows where people didn't show up rather than getting on row 151 or whatever the back row is for that one, because that doesn't sound like a fun day either. So, yeah, that's happening. It's going to be in Sumter. Unfortunately, I wish I could be there, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, that is also the start of the Mid-East Hare Scramble Series, so I will be returning as the announcer for the Mid-East Hare Scrambles, and so that same exact weekend, we'll be racing in eastern North Carolina, like out towards the beach. So unfortunately, I won't be able to go see Sumter, but the following weekend after that, Big Buck will get the juices flowing. And we'll be right back into the thick of it with the 2024 race season. So I'm super excited about that. Some other things on the docket. Like I said, plan to get back to doing the shows with riders. Like I said, I really want to invest a lot into the shows this year. I want to be consistent. I want to get the people on here. I want to talk to the people and let you guys hear all of the conversations and see all the storylines along the way. The Supercross thing, I know I kind of threw that out there last week. We were supposed to do a Supercross show, motocross show, a moto show, and I had a big name guy that had all the inside information all the way up until the 12th hour, and then decided there wasn't enough time in the day. So that did put me in a spot where I didn't know if we were going to do a moto show with just myself or not. I did kind of throw that out there at the last race. Obviously, we didn't do anything for A1. Had a big party. Went and watched an A1 party like a lot of people do. But obviously didn't do a show about it. And I got some feedback. I actually got a lot of messages after the last show, so I appreciate you guys listening. But as far as the Supercross thing goes, I think one of the things that makes OTP so special is my relationship with people in the industry, whether it's crew guys, whether it's the beta team, whether it's the pro riders or amateur riders alike. I think that's kind of what gives OTP the unique edge in some sense, like bringing the inside information, hearing the things that the average fan doesn't hear about, and creating that buzz and creating that engagement and putting that content out there. When it comes to Supercross and motocross, I was supposed to be at Anaheim 1, and then I was going to stay there and go to San Francisco this coming weekend and have everything lined up to go to as many Supercross rounds as I could. But a big part of that, I think, was having that other rider, that other person co-hosting it with me, because then they are boots on the grounds, and this person actually had the inside scoop from a couple of different angles. And I don't want to really go into detail about all that stuff, but would have been a very good person to do the show with. And it's not completely off the table. We're going to revisit it somewhere else down the line, but just with a lot of changes and a lot of stuff going on right now, just didn't work out. Wasn't in the cards for this year. So that being said, I could talk about Supercross and motocross, but it wouldn't be anything outside of what you guys can all watch on the races on Peacock. Like, I'd be watching the same race on the same TV and then just coming on here and talking about it. So, one, I don't want to take away from the stuff that we have planned to cover off-road, and I'm still an off-road truist in the sense that I want to shine the spotlight on off-road. There's enough people talking about Supercross. It's on your TV. Everyone watches it. I want to get the off-road side built up into that. There's more people in this country racing off-road than there is motocross. And so the plan is to get things like OTP out to all the people that are interested in dirt bikes so we can talk about how cool off-road is. So all that to say, I don't think we're going to do Supercross and motocross this year. Might revisit again in the future, really just to get into that bigger fan pool. There's more people that watch Supercross and motocross. So the goal was to get those people listening to the show, and then they trickle over and listen to the off-road episodes as well, and we gain our following that way. So that was a plan, but hey, not every plan is supposed to work out. So I did get a lot of feedback, and a lot of people did think that it would be a good idea. Unfortunately, I just don't see it right now. Rather hone this thing in and get OTP growing into what it can be before we start going down other avenues. That being said, I do have a couple of ideas. I think I'm going to go ahead and announce it. I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you're listening to this show, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This Saturday, for the San Francisco Supercross round number 2, I think we're going to do a watch-along. So we'll have a couple people over at the studio. We'll put the race on. Obviously, we can't show the race on camera or else we'll get hit with copyright strikes and all sorts of stuff. But we're going to do a watch-along to where if you're fed up with listening to that Lee Diffie guy talk or James Stewart not know what's going on half the time, it seems like, if you want to watch Supercross, but you don't feel like you're hanging out with some buddies and dissecting the race together, then throw Supercross on your TV, find OTP on YouTube, throw that on your computer, on your phone, or whatever, and we're going to do a watch-along party, have some people over. We'll just live react to what's going on in the race. I'm sure some other conversations will break out in the midst of it, but that's the goal. We'll watch Supercross live, and that way you can have Supercross on, and instead of listening to the announcers if you don't feel like it, you can listen to the audio from us, and we'll be on camera and everything too. But, yeah, that's the plan. And we'll do a couple of those and see how it goes. So tune in this Saturday for Supercross via OTP. That is the goal. I don't know if Supercross is at 8 or 10. The Mideast banquet is on Saturday, and that'll last all day. Hopefully everything goes well with my brother's surgery. That's the first thing and the most important thing. So that is all going to be found out tomorrow, obviously, when he gets surgery. So none of this stuff may happen if something goes weird with that, but the plan is that's what we're going to do. So if not, we'll be back, like I said, next week with a regularly scheduled program. But yeah, try out the watch party, see how it goes. Other than that, I think we're also going to build up Twitter/X, formerly known as Twitter. I didn't realize how many moto people were active on it. I never really used Twitter. Twitter was my least favorite social media of any of them, but I kind of find myself going to it more and more now. I don't really actively tweet or do anything, but like whenever something's going on, I'll jump on Twitter and go to trending, and it'll already be on there. Like Twitter is like a real-time Google, and there's so much stuff you can learn from it. Like anything going on, anything pop culture that you see, anything going on in your area, you can go to trending stuff and it's there. And it's like up-to-date, real-time information. It's actually pretty cool from that aspect. Like I said, it's like a real-time Google. Like it's actually a very good news source. That being said, I didn't realize how many moto people are very active on Twitter. Like Zach Osborne puts out polls every day. But then, like, all the riders are chirping back and forth at each other, and some other shows are really present on Twitter as well. But Twitter is also a really good way to see things real time and then also get that information real time, but then also log it. And then so we can do giveaways or do whatever through that. It's easier to sort through that information and get it right in front of you. So all of that to be said, what I'm going to try to do is bump up our Twitter, the On the Pipe Podcast Twitter. So if you go to Twitter or X, whatever, and search On the Pipe Podcast, give us a follow. And then that way when we're at the races too, I can do more up-to-date stuff, because to post videos and do stuff of the weekend takes a lot of thought, a lot of planning. Like, you can't just post a video. That's why I miss taking pictures. You can take pictures for 5 minutes of the race and have your whole day done. Where a video, if you miss one little part, video's ruined. If you miss the beginning, don't have the start, you don't have a video. If you miss them on the track, you only get limited opportunities to see them. So if you miss a couple spots, video's ruined. You don't make it back to the finish line in time, video's ruined. So, but I mean, even still, walk around the pits, like even just simple as posting a story, some thought has to go into that. You have to get it right. The multiple takes, there's all sorts of stuff. Twitter, you just throw it out there. Hey, for instance, when Big Buck starts, whatever, or even like National Enduro, checking in with that. It's a pain in the ass to look up National Enduro results. So even as simple as, hey, test 1. Stu won by 4 seconds over Grant, who is 8 seconds in front of Trevor Bollinger, or whatever it may be. Just type it up, boom, send it. It's there. Same thing, going to Big Buck. Oh, we got J-Law in the area. He might be racing off-road. Boom. So that's where I think it could be useful, to just kind of keep everybody up to date, in the know. Hopefully we can build that up. Same thing, keep updates about shows, do some polls, do some interaction stuff for things to talk about on the show. And yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. So follow us on Twitter. I don't even know if I've tweeted anything on the OTP Twitter or X. So I'm going to get that fired up. So give us a follow. And then outside of that, I think that about covers it. Yeah. Hopefully we got some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline, and hopefully we'll get OTP on the right track, if you know what I mean. So, as always, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us. If you want to sponsor On the Pipe podcast, reach out to me. We have several different sponsorship opportunities that I'd be more than happy to talk with you about. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Be a friend, tell a friend. We'll see you next time.